In the last 2 years since I posted, I feel like I've lived 5 separate lives. Where have I gone wrong? Trying to figure it out. Some of the happiest moments in my life have happened in the past 2 years, and some of the darkest. I quit my job, I stopped uploading YouTube videos, I got married, got pregnant, and then I became a mom. And then somewhere in the midst of all of that craziness, I lost myself, as one would. But I'm starting to feel a lot more positive. Good thing, right? I am ready to find out who I am. I'm ready to find out who Sarah is. We're gonna go all the way back to 2024. It was May of 2024 and I quit my job. At that time, I was so creatively burnt out because my job was to teach kids and teenagers and sometimes adults painting and art and all of this fun stuff. It might not seem stressful, but it was, right? Especially, I'm not gonna get into it. I was so creatively burnt out because that's all I was doing. I was painting all the time. And then I was also painting for my business on the side. Honestly, the thought of filming, the thought of editing, the thought of doing anything with YouTube at the time was so incredibly overwhelming and just gave me the ick. It sounds so dramatic. At that time, I didn't know who I was creating art for. I felt like I needed to create art for other people. I needed to teach people other art. I needed to make the art that people wanted to buy. Same with YouTube videos. I have to make all the diabetes content. I have to do all of this stuff because this is what people want. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a people pleaser. And I took a break and I was like, I'm gonna come back to this later. I washed my hands of all of this goodness. And then in October of 2024, I got married, and it was, at the time, the greatest day of my life. And I say at the time because now I am a mom, so we'll get into that in a minute. The day that I got married was amazing. Everybody says that, but I genuinely mean it. It was one of the greatest days of my life. I was smiling the whole day. Everybody, whenever people would see me, they'd be like, "Oh, Sarah, you're so happy. You're not nervous or anything like that." I'm like, no, I get to marry my best friend. I'm so excited. Then when I saw my dad, I started crying. I could not stop for probably an hour. Oh my god, I got something in my eye. The hallway before I had to walk down the aisle, once we got to the beginning of the aisle, it was my tears got sucked back into my body, and I was like, Kate, this is your moment. The only bad thing about my wedding was that Jane and I both got sick. So on our honeymoon, we were both extremely sick. That's really all the bad things I could say about my wedding. I think that's what made my anxiety and depression so confusing to me. I was drowning on the inside. And that's the other thing that I really struggled with, accepting that two things can be the same at once. Love and fear and struggle and anxiety can all simultaneously be happening. Because I was dealing with a lot of trauma that was resurfacing, and anxiety that was resurfacing, and why am I a people pleaser? Why basically am I this way? Yeah, I didn't at the time in December 2024, January 2025 have the vocabulary to really explain that. What made this even more confusing was then at the end of February, I found out that I was pregnant. Such a roller coaster. I was so extremely happy. I cried, and it was just all of the wonderful, joyous things. But also at the same time, I was like, what now? All of the outside pressures came in. You don't have your life together. You have all of this unresolved trauma. You have things that you're still working on with your eating disorder, and you're not healthy enough. You have type 1 diabetes. The baby's not gonna be good. Blah, 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 blah. I was so overwhelmed. I had such bad anxiety. I'm already generally just an anxious person. My pregnancy also brought up a lot of anxieties and fears that I didn't realize that I had. I have so much anxiety around raising a daughter because I don't want her to experience the same things that I did. I wasn't healed enough at the time, I feel to raise a daughter, because I was terrified that I was gonna pass down my self-worth and self-value to her. She would see, oh, mom always says she's fat. have my son now, and he is like the greatest thing in my entire life. And I would never want him to feel that way about himself, and I would never want my daughter, if I am blessed enough to have a daughter, to feel that way about herself. And I think about it, and I would just like never want them to see me like be so down on myself and then them take that in internally. I know that there's things as parents that we can't like shield our kids from all the time, but like it really, like when I was pregnant, it really was something that I was like really anxious about, and I didn't talk to anybody about it, so I tried to keep myself busy. And then on top of that, like I have diabetes, and then my blood pressure is high, and my blood pressure is probably high because I'm stressed all the time. And then I was, you know, working and on my feet, and also I was carrying, and I was really big, and I gained some weight. It's just all of these other things, you know, that go along with pregnancy. And then on October 14th, 2025, my little baby, my little Basil, my little boy was born. And it was the most terrifying and most beautiful day of my life. At 37 weeks of pregnancy, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia, and then I had to be induced, and I went through 48 hours of, you know, induction and labor and all of that fun stuff for it to end in an emergency C-section. That's gonna be a video for another time, so if you want to hear about like my birth story and my emergency C-section and all of that stuff, let me know in the comments down below. I don't think a lot of women talk about this, and I want to just be completely candid. I had to mourn the version of my birth that I always dreamed of having. I always thought that I would have a unmedicated vaginal birth, and then that didn't happen. It genuinely broke me. I still am broken from it. I still am heartbroken. I feel so disconnected from myself because, like, obviously postpartum depression is a thing. That just made me realize how much I want to heal, and that I need to heal that 8-year-old version of myself that is so sad on the inside. It forced me to see all these parts of myself that I kind of like shoved way down and like compacted into this little trash compactor. And that's how I feel about myself, is like I have this really strong core, and there's a lot of shit that I need to peel back. I'm like an ogre. That's where we are today. I'm 7 months postpartum. I am depresso espresso, and my dog is snoring in the background. My whole life, I've been a people pleaser. My whole life, I have been somebody who has never really felt connected to themselves. I miss feeling alive. I miss feeling like myself. I'm ready to find out who I am as a 31-year-old woman, as a mom, as a wife, as Sarah. I want to get healthier. I want to try my old hobbies that I used to love. I want to try new things. I want to get new mom friends. I want to find my spark again. I want to find that version of myself that is like in love with life. My family and my friends and my husband and my son, they all deserve that version of me. But the person who deserves that version of me the most is me. I deserve that. And you deserve that too. I'm gonna try to not cry for the 85th time. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below if you're struggling like how I am, or maybe in a similar kind of fashion. I want this to be a place that we can all talk, you can have community, and you're not gonna feel judged. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share with other people that you think may find this video helpful in any way, and subscribe because I will be uploading new videos every Sunday. I love you guys. Thank you for welcoming me back, and I can't wait to see what is in store for us next and where we go in this life. Love you. Bye.